Hey everyone, it is Ellen Juddy here. I am your PLC lead for high school dance on the Godot Communities website. We are in our March webinar. We are talking jazz dance technique, basically. Some of my go-to stuff that I do in class. As I said in the other webinars, there is a jazz dance framework. If you go to the Godot Fine Arts site, you scroll down a little, and you'll find the frameworks for dance, and it's one huge document, and there's a bunch of hyperlinks in there. So if you scroll down to page 22, jazz dance is in there. There's 4 units, and each unit has a couple lessons in there. I wrote that framework, I think in the fall, maybe last spring. But it's a progression in there. There's lots of lessons, lots of supplemental materials. You can use it as is. You can rip them apart, take one here, take one there, whatever. So some good resources for you there if you are looking for something for jazz dance. In this final section, I am going to talk about stuff that I do in the center. This would probably be, I'm not going to do a combo. You guys know how to put your stuff together and do combinations. So I'm going to focus more on some strengthening stuff that I would do. I might do it towards the end of class. I might do it before I went across the floor. So it would just depend on where you felt like that would fit. So talking about that, I'll get started. Disclaimer, I've got some grand pliés in here that I do, and my hips don't do grand pliés in second position anymore. So it will be a sad grand plié that I will be showing you, but in your head you know that it should, where the grand plié should be. So let's see. I can't remember, honest to God, I can't remember where I came up with this or where maybe a teacher did it with me. But all I know is that I remember my thighs burning and becoming really strong and working on balance. So I would probably do this series. It's painful. I mean, it's a lot. I would do 8, 8, 4, 4, 2, 2, and then singles, either right, left, or right, left, right, left. Then this wide second. So we would go to it again. Here's my grand plie. We would go to that grand plie for 8 counts. Then I would lift my right heel and lower that grand plie for 8 counts. Then I would put it down for 8 counts and hold that grand plie. Then I would turn into this 4th position. Okay, I'm still in this plie. Weights in the center. Arms are here. Again, port de bras, you can decide which one to do. I would hold this for 8. Then I would come up to a passe. And you could decide whether again, whatever arms you want to do for the passe. 8. Then I would turn out for 8 in the passe. We're holding 8. If I had upper level, I might extend the leg for 8 and bring this back in for 8. Then I would close it back up again, back into parallel for 8. Then I would go back down to my 4th position for 8. I would keep this heel up, the right heel up, and I would turn back out to my grand plie with the heel up for 8. Then I would lower that heel for 8. Then I would come up for 8. I would breathe in, and I would get ready to start it on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Passe for 8. Open it for 8. If you want to extend, if you want to have them from here hold a balance for 8, lose the balance. Then I have them bring it back in, 8, hold for 8, heels up for 8, heels down for 8, coming up for 8. So that's the progression. And I mean, there's so many things you could do. You could make them switch heels, right? You could, from one heel, you could go to 2 heels. You could, from here, instead of just a passe, you could have them do a pirouette, and hold that. That was a really pathetic pirouette, by the way. I'm thinking of like tons of stuff. I mean, you could have them come out for 8, bring it in for 8, open it up, have an elevate there, lost my balance. So so many options for that exercise, whatever you needed to work on. But it's a good one for that stability, balancing, that center core work. Again, if you add a pirouette, that control with a pirouette. For this exercise, for me personally, I wouldn't do like multiple pirouettes. It would be one of those things where I would try to do a slow and hold and out to another position. I think it would be brutal to do that for 8, 8, 4, 4, 2, 2. And I probably haven't done that for a little bit of time, but if you really want to get your real advanced kids, you can do that with them. So yeah, that's a good strengthening exercise. The next thing I do is tilts. Kids always want to do tilts, but they really have to learn it. So this is how I do it. Start in the second position again, and I'll do generally. I think I do 4 counts, but a real slow 4. They'll take a 4 count to grand plie, and here's the tilt part. I have them keep their arms in second position, and they're only bending from the waist. So then they're going over here with the tilt. They're taking the head, because they love to do this with this head not tilted, so the head stays on the spine. So they're here. Again, this is a grand plie. I know it's pretty pathetic. And then I come back up for 4. And then I always lower for 4 again, and then come up. So then I would have them breathe in, and then we exhale. So we're there, making sure the arms are straight, and then I tilt over. And they want to keep the head. They want to keep the head there, and they want to move the arms. But so I stress your arms are in second position, and it is literally the torso that is going over, and then up, and then down. So then my next progression would be to pop up to a passe and keep the tilt. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop up on 1, and I'm still in this 2. 2, 3, 4. Hold the tilt. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again to the other side. The next progression might be an extension. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop up on 1. Hold 2. Hold 3. Hold 4. If they understand that développé, you could have this extend for 1, 2, 3, 4. Back in for 4. Back down for 4. Up for 4. And for 4. I'm trying to think. Okay, next progression I would do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, my bad. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This goes right up to a tilt. 1, 2, 3, 4. An extension. So for that, they really have to press off. They're here, and they got to get this leg straight, and they've got to press over and hold. Again, that's pathetic. Height of the leg, then back down, and here. Hold. And I'm thinking the last progression, and I'm going to do it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I come up 2, 3, 4. Then I would rond de jambe around. This is for your advanced. I would go into this tilt here, and then I would come around and get up. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So that progression was just the tilt. I'm going to go without the grand plie. The hips are hurting. So here and then here. The next progression was over to a passe and back down and up. The next progression was here to a passe to an extension, back to the passe, back to the grand plie and here. And then here and here, straight up to the extension and back down. And then that last one was straight up to the extension, rond de jambe around to your tilt, to the attitude, and then to the floor. So that's the tilt series I like to do. That tortures them a little bit as well. Okay, pirouette. We will, my intros, I don't do turned out, but I will get to turn out eventually, but I always start in parallel. I do just this, right? The hard part is teaching the fourth position. Getting the weight in the center for them, getting that heel the whole way up. They don't want to put this heel up, drives me nuts. And you know about the climb up. So having that heel up, front heel down, and then zipping up to the passe. That's how I'll start. I'll even just start with, we don't even bother with the tendu. We'll just start with learning the fourth position. I have them shift their weight forward, shift their weight back. I have them, do all kinds of stuff to make sure that weight's in the center. And then I will start with no heel up, and then I'll come, and then we'll start with the balance. And then eventually, then I'll start with quarter turns. Then I'll start with the quarter turn all the way around, and then the half turn, and then, of course, the full turn. That's basically how I do that. And again, this is something that I might do after across the floor, or if I didn't do pirouettes across the floor, or it might be something that I tag on after the bot miles in my warm-up. For some of the more advanced classes, I will start from a first position, and it blows their mind. So I'll do passe, plie into a first position, and then have them pirouette from there. It's a little bit of a harder thing, that might be something you can do with your more advanced kids. So the only other thing I had written on my list was a fish roll. That seems to be really popular these days. So it's just a shoulder roll. I'll just do that real quick. Just that shoulder roll. Can I say most? A lot of them are going to be partial to the right, and I don't know that I can do a shoulder roll on the left. I mean, I probably could. But why? I don't need to anymore. So I always start here, and then we'll just have them go over their shoulder and land here. That seems to be the easiest, because a lot of them will try to go like straight over the back of the neck, which is not safe. So I'll always have them do this, the roll over the shoulder like this. And then the more advanced would be the fish roll. I mean, who named that? Who named that? I want to know who named it. If you know the history, let's take a discussion about that. So then the fish roll, however you want to do that. So we work on those as well. We workshop them because they want to do them. They look cool. So usually maybe at the end of the class I'll workshop, take 10, 15 minutes and workshop those so they learn how to do them. So yeah, that is jazz. So for the center stuff that I did, just a quick recap, I did the wide second position stuff, whereas you could do so many variations. So I lifted the heel, I brought it in, came up, opened, back, that's the basic. So many variations of that. My tilt series, so making sure that their arms stay in second, and they're just moving from the torso and taking the head, so we don't have this ear to the shoulder nonsense. Pirouettes, like I said, I just break them down in parallel for the intro kids. We'll do a tendu, a prep, quarter turns, half turns, and then eventually a full turn. Once we, I also have to get spotting in there as well when you get to the full turn. So, and then the shoulder roll, fish roll. So yeah, that's basically what I focus on for jazz. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. I would love to know what kind of stuff you're doing in your jazz. This is sort of your basic, sort of old school classic technique. But I know you guys are doing lots of cool things, so I would love to hear about them. All right, I will see you next webinar in March and April. All right, see ya.